Before you can even start cleaning your data, let alone analyzing it, you need to get it into your RStudio first. Like always in art, there are dozens of ways in how you can do this. It depends a lot on which type of data you have and how big the dataset is. Generally, I would recommend to store your data as a CSV, so that's comma-separated values, and also import it as such. That is the way best implemented in RStudio, and that's the way that gets you the fastest results, even for bigger datasets. For small data or even snippets, you can use a copy and paste way like I will show you also in this video. If you have alternative data types like let's say Stata or XLS files, you might need to get the package foreign to be able to load that sort of thing into R. But let's check out the standard way at first. As you might already have found out, there is an import data icon over here in RStudio. If you then select from text file, you can choose the location on your computer where the data is situated. So I will select the right dataset and then click OK. In this case, the dataset is called bug frequency. So now we get this window opened over here, which is the import dataset window. In this interface, you can see how the raw data looks like and how the output is going to be given the settings provided on the left side over here. You can select which separators your dataset uses, which obviously depends on your data and the separator you or your colleague used for the CSV file. Often it will be comma or semicolon like it is over here in this dataset. You can set your decimal symbol, quote symbols, and even the marks for comments. Two important things I want to point out here. Most of the time you do not want strings to be converted to vectors automatically. So you want to untick this box over here. Of course, this does not matter if there are no strings in your dataset. Furthermore, over here you can check the header. In this case, I'm going to select yes, since I want the data to be with a proper heading. We can again check the output down here. We can change the file name if we want, or we can change it later on in the console. And once we are done, we can click import to get the data imported for our analysis into RStudio. So as you can see, now we have a new object in the environment and the data view window appears up here to get an instant impression about the data. So we can instantly see how the data now looks like in RStudio. So that was basically the fastest and easiest way in how you can import CSV files into RStudio, and we've been using the import dataset icon, which is easily accessible in RStudio. For small vectors and other snippets, there is a convenient shortcut function to allow for a copy and paste style insertion of data. It's called the scan function. So let's say we have some numbers here in Excel and we want to copy and paste them into R. Therefore, we go to Excel, copy them over here into our clipboard, and then we can go back to RStudio and we can run the scan function. I'm simply getting the new object name over here, which in this case is numbers, and this one should contain this small vector from Excel. So if I execute the scan function, you can see the number 1 down here in the console. That means I simply need to click in the console and I need to paste the data which is now stored in my clipboard. And then I can simply press enter. If we now take a look at the new object in the environment, we get the data we just pasted. So that is our confirmation that this whole procedure actually worked. If we're going to do the same thing for string data, like let's say we want to copy this string vector from over here in Excel, we do the same thing at the Excel side. But now we actually need to specify the argument what equals character in the scan function. so that R knows that we want to get strings as an output. Otherwise we would get an error message, since R would expect data of class double, since that is the default setting for the scan function. And as you can see in the environment, we now have a character vector of length 4 with all those words which we just pasted and copied from Excel. I would say that this sort of thing is a quick and dirty way to get vectors and single columns into R. For larger matrices or data frame-like data, it's not the best way to do it. You would probably have to do this via lists and all sorts of cleaning steps, which is oftentimes not worth the hassle. By the way, this scan function is not limited to Excel. Each time you want to copy and paste something, this can be used even on data from your web browser, for example.